Welcome back to Van Hozochi. Mama Gagasauti are going to be with me, Princess Mugisha. And let's start with the news headlines. Rwanda businesses agree to seize opportunities to the UC World Championship. 7 billion Rwandan francs set aside to restore families for Nyabarongo Dam. On international scene, Kim and Putin join Xi Jinping at the massive military parade in Beijing. Let's take a short break to be back into the news details. Welcome back into the news details. And let's start our news in Rwanda, where the Ministry of Trade and Industry has called on Rwanda's private sector to prepare and take advantage of the 2025 UEC World Championship set to take place in Kigali from September 21st to 28th. In adversely issued on Tuesday, September 2nd, Minicom encouraged business the championship as an opportunity to boost trade and deliver high-quality services to the participants, visitors, and cycling fans from around the world. Business were advised to stock up goods in advance to avoid disruption during temporary road closures and to schedule deliveries during the night hours when the roads will be opened. The truck drivers will also be facilitated during the night operation, the ministry added. The 2025 championship will mark the first term of the previous global cycling event held in Africa, positioning Rwanda as a hub for the international sporting activities and sports tourism. Rwanda's edition is expected to attract large influx of athletes, delegations, and fans alongside visitors keen to explore the country's tourism offerings. Authorities say the event is not only a milestone for sports, but also an opportunity for local businesses to showcase Rwanda's hospitality and entrepreneurial spirit. Now over to the next story. The government of Rwanda has allocated over 70 billion Rwandan francs to support the resettlement and compensation of families affected by the construction of Nyabarongo Second Multipurpose Dam. This funding will be used primarily for exploitation, which involves acquiring land and relocating residents currently living in the area designated for the dam. The project, located in the southern and western province, will impact over 1,500 households. The Nyabarongo Second Dam is one of Rwanda's most significant infrastructure projects designed to enhance electricity generation, irrigation, and flood control. It is expected to produce 43.5 megawatts of electricity and irrigate about 20,000 hectares of the land, supporting agriculture productivity, climate resilience. The dam is also anticipated to improve water supply and contribute to flood mitigation, particularly in the downstream areas prone to seasonal flooding. Up next, the next story, the report of the judiciary shows that in 2024-2025 year, over 2,674 cases of the couples requesting divorce were heard, up from 2,833 cases in the previous year. Among civil cases received in the first judicial year, as well as in the 2023-2024 year, cases related to divorce continue to dominate, followed by the cases based on real estate, breach of conflict, and those related to the civil status documents. Statistics show that over 2,674 cases related to divorce were received, and over 2,259 cases related to real estates, and over 1,176 cases related to the breach of contract, and over 1,059 cases related to the approval of the civil status documents. The President of the Supreme Court, Mukanaganza Domitille, indicated that this year efforts will be made to resolve problems outside the courts through mediation. The statistics show that at least in the first 2 years, it seems to have started to decline, although it is still high. Let's take a short break to be back into the international news.
Welcome to Albert Supply.
Now turning our attention to overseas, in the remote hills of Uganda, Winnie Katkwesige is on a mission. She's not only delivering healthcare but also restoring dignity to elderly people often forgotten by the system. On a different note, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian Vladimir Putin franked Xi Jinping at a massive parade in Beijing on Wednesday, capping a week of diplomatic grandstanding by the Chinese president and his allies against the West. Kamikaze Giselle proceeds.
On the international news, let's start in Africa, where in the remote hills of Uganda, Nurse Winnie Katusinge is bringing both health care and dignity to elderly people often neglected by the system. Walking Reach One, Touch One ministries, she travels to mountainous villages, riding on border motorcycle taxis before continuing on foot to reach her patients. Carrying a metal case of basic medical supplies, Winnie checks blood pressure and glucose levels, performs procedures such as catheterization and the devices on hygiene and diet. Motivated by faith, she says her mission is to love and serve those too frail to care for themselves. Many elders survive on rainwater stored in plastic tanks, which Winnie also uses during her visits. Her work comes amid a growing aging crisis in sub-Saharan Africa, where people over 60 have increased by 50% in 15 years, now totaling 67 million. With projections of 163 million by 2050, experts warn that without better pensions, health care, and community support, the region risks a severe crisis. Preceding, President Donald Trump announced that U.S. force struck a drug-carrying vessel linked to Venezuela's Tren de la Guan gang in the southern Caribbean, killing 11 alleged narco-terrorists. He said the boat operating in international waters was transporting narcotics bound for the U.S. Trump shared a video of the incident on social media, showing the vessel bursting into flames after the strike. He warned this should serve as a deterrent to anyone attempting to traffic drugs into the U.S. The strike comes as President Trump's administration intensifies military and political pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, recently offering a $50 million reward for his arrest on drug trafficking charges. Venezuela dismissed Trump's video as possibly AR-generated propaganda. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the operation, while U.S. officials continue to classify Latin American groups including Tren de la Guan and Maduro-linked Cartel of the Suns as terrorist organizations. Maduro has vowed Venezuela will resist any U.S. intervention. Concluding, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosted the country's largest ever military parade in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, joined by Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The event, marking 80 years since the end of World War II, showcased China's latest military technology, including hypersonic missiles, underwater drones like AJX-002, stealth combat drones, and the new DF-61 intercontinental ballistic missile. She declared the world faced a choice between peace and war, while asserting China was unstoppable. The parade featured thousands of troops, tanks, and a massive flyover of warplanes and helicopters, drawing crowds across the capital. The spectacle highlighted China's growing military power and its alliance with Russia and North Korea. The show of unity drew criticism from President Donald Trump, who accused Xi, Putin, and Kim of conspiring against U.S. The parade kept a week of regional diplomacy led by Xi, reinforcing China's bid to counter Western influence. Kamikaze Ghislaine, Mama Gasabo TV.
As we come to the end of news edition today, let's go back with the news headlines. Rwanda's business agrees to seize opportunities at UC World Championships. 70 billion Rwandan francs set aside to resettle families from Nyamarongo Dam. On the international scene, Kim and Putin presidents join Xi Jinping at massive military parade in Beijing. Thanks for having me. Stay tuned.